Network, the ultimate destination where we dissect and celebrate diverse personalities from the real world to the fictional ones. I'm Hot Nerd Syd, your guide through the captivating worlds of fandom, and I'm here to empower and entertain you with our geeky adventures. Here we're also joined by some fellow Hot Nerd April, Monty, and Penny. What's up, y'all? Hey.
What's going on?
In this Love Island UK season 10 recap, we're going join me and my hot guest speakers who would never bug you off as we dive into the highs, lows, and drama of the entire season. So let's get started first with some immediate reactions to this explosive love, this crazy finale. What are y'all's thoughts on your winners? Your winners, Sammy and Jess. Aren't they so deserving?
Not my winners. I'm just kidding.
Not at all, man. There's deserving as you and I.
That's hysterical. You know what's so crazy? Like, so I was watching it on my phone, right? And you know how you could scroll, like you could speed through.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, like I have to like watch it. And why was my heart racing? I was so nervous. And then when they won, I was like,
I know.
Like I just turned it off. Like I didn't even watch after what they said, like the interview or anything like that. Like I was so disappointed.
I mean, did it even show after? I didn't even know because I immediately clicked over to everybody on YouTube and Twitter talking about. Did y'all see that Jess was like a trending topic on Twitter?
Wait, why? What she say something?
No, it's just
because.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how they got voted. Like they tweet out like the percentages and all that, and everybody was like, "Nah, we need to see the actual numbers because there's no way that actually should have gone down like that."
Yeah, it's gotta be. I think that was the first thing I was thinking was like, it's gotta be rigged, like something with the producers. But I think people were mostly talking about like, does this have to do with race? But even if we take race out of it, if you look at Sammy and Jess's relationship, like if you actually watch the show, it doesn't make sense. Like even if you take race out of it. So I was super upset. I was heated. Just not okay.
Yeah. No.
I think the producers told him to say I love you during the speech.
Yes.
I think he was forced to say that, so it made sense that they won.
What also I think go ahead, Darcy.
Oh no, I was gonna say so many others said I love you though. Like, you know, Molly and Zach said I love you, Ty and Ella said I love you. But I noticed I was like, Sammy, everything is strategic because it's always in front of an audience.
Yes. Never in just them two.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you're in the bottom three. You know, he's been in the bottom three so many times. At some point, he got to a point where he was like, yeah, I know the public is not really messing with me right now. So I got to be on my P's and Q's. I got to start pulling rabbits out of hats. But I think he knew exactly what his position was. So once them girls stopped coming in, the bombshells stopped coming, he was like, yeah, man, I got to get my grafting boots on. So
100%. Yeah.
Yes, grafting. No.
What does grafting mean?
You just gotta try hard.
Effort.
Like you have to effort.
Oh, effort. Oh, really?
Effort.
Okay.
Like it's a fancy way to say effort, but like grafting honestly sounds better because effort is just like you're gonna give me the bare minimum, but like grafting means like, nah, you need to put that work in. But
period.
No, I mean everything sounds better in UK language to me. Genuinely does. But no, Sammy was my villain the entire season. Like, it's kind of crazy that they just handed him 25K. Like,
no, high key. Here.
It's really wild. I mean,
did you guys expect it though? I feel like once I saw like Ty and Ella like get clipped on the third, I was like, if it comes down between Whitney and Lockham and Sam and Jess, like they're gonna give it to him. Like,
I didn't say that. I didn't see it out. Like, I thought. I mean, I don't know what I thought, but I was like, definitely not Sammy and Jess. Like, I could even see Molly and Zach. That's saying something. Molly and Zach over Sammy and Jess. Like, at least they had some semblance of loyalty to each other, whereas Sammy clearly was playing a game. It was so clear.
It was clear. And he had to be told to like stop messing around with girls. It's not like he came to that decision on his own. She had to, you know, like cry and practically beg him like nothing came to him on his own. I was not a fan. He was definitely a villain, Sammy. I just did not like him. Nothing seemed genuine from his side at 100%. All.
I really think all the producers told him to do everything.
Yes.
I think the producers were like, we need you, white man, to get first place. So follow my directions.
Yeah.
I think they like the chaos though. Like that's what made them actually get the win is like when you could get chaos from a couple, like Ty and Ella also had chaos too, but theirs was more so like just kind of sporadic. Like Salmon just gave us a solid like 3 weeks of chaos just off of like Sam himself. Like just literally was just watching it like just like everybody else. So they were gonna make a way for him to win with that. Like
it's saddening.
Not okay. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, no.
I mean, did y'all have what do you think really messed up the chances for the other couples to win? First, starting off with Molly and Zach.
They're boring.
Yeah.
Mega boring.
One word.
They're just boring. No, literally, like who won last season?
You know
it was
Damn, I can't remember. That's really crazy.
The girl starts with an S. It's like some.
Oh, Sanam and
yeah.
Kai. They were boring too, but like they were just low key like lover boys the entire time. And then the season before that, they were actually a good storyline. I just think that like, I don't know, they just sucked. Like no one liked their personalities.
They were so clearly producer plans to me, like. Bringing Molly back was so clearly like, what was Zach going to do? Zach would have completely fumbled every single bag if he would have stuck with Katie over Molly after they brought her back. Like it felt a bit forced to me.
Their speeches were cringe to me too. Like I was like, ooh, stop talking. Like,
Zach, do y'all agree? Sorry, Zach, if you're watching this, but do y'all agree if he can speak? Can he speak? Does he know the English language? I mean, it's hard to make out his words. I was so excited for his speech because I was like, now he'll have to speak for a prolonged amount of time. I wonder what he's going to say because I haven't heard this man string together more than 5 words at a time.
I don't think he has it. He doesn't have that emotional maturity.
Exactly.
Though. Like I was watching like some of the little after videos from like when people get like cut off the island or whatever, and literally I think it was maybe Katie. She was just saying like, so like, what are your plans for when you guys get out of the island? This and third. He's like, oh, I don't really know. Like it's like, what do you normally do with girls? He's like, I just kind of sit in my room and talk. Like, and it was like. Dude, you're a grown man. Like, how do you think this is okay?
He's older.
He's older. Yeah, I think he's like 26, 27.
Yeah, he's like 27.
Yeah.
But if that's your ideal plans, like, you really expect that man to be, Shakespeare? Nah, like, it's not like...
I just didn't get the hype over Zach. I didn't. I was like, he's tall. Like, I don't know. I was just confused. I was like, he was giving nothing. And all the girls were like, when he first came in, they were just really interested in him.
Like, because I think he's giving like, what's the word I'm looking for? But like,
mysterious?
White guy that acts like a black man. So he's like, oh, so smooth, yada yada, plays basketball, all the tattoos, but really he's just like a thumb.
Literally, he contributes nothing.
And Molly, and that's why I hated watching them like talk to each other because it's like Molly's just like reaching for anything.
Yes,
literally
to grasp. It's like, damn sis, this is so sad.
It is. I felt like at a certain point, we'll get into the recap of like what their trajectory was. But why do y'all feel like Ty and Ella lost? Because honestly, I thought if they were not going to get second place, they were going to win. That's what I thought. I thought they were the runner-ups.
I would say relatability. Like, because so I think they're relatable to a certain demographic. Like, we all kind of know, like, a couple that's very explosive, like, but like it somehow works to us. Like, there's a certain part of generation, that like identifies with toxic couples like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the overall part, if you're just like a, I don't know, 40-year-old white dude in like Hampshire or something random part of UK, like who's watching this, you're probably just like, ew, like this isn't compatible at all. Like, like you guys are not healthy. This is terrible. Like, So I think that's why they were kind of their own downfall, especially after that last fight. That last fight was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I was really confused.
But they've done that so many times.
They have, because time, and I feel like that what they do is like they don't properly resolve. They just kind of sweep it under the rug, or maybe we don't see the resolution because it's only an hour of television. But Tyreek literally blows up, bro. And I think it's again maturity on his part. I think he'll grow out of that. But off of any little thing, he'll just like start speaking crazy out of his mouth. The fact that he told her to shut up a day before the finale, I'm like, do you care about money? I don't know. It just was wild. He just doesn't. His emotions boil over.
I think that's why they fumbled, because not only did you tell Whitney shut up, but then the day before you told your girlfriend to shut up.
Yeah,
you're a black man in the UK. You're not getting nothing. No money for you.
Nothing.
Yeah, I knew when that last fight happened and they were cussing each other out. I was like, well, goodbye. So Whitney, please win, you know, because I already knew Ty and Ella weren't going to win just based off of that.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Very sad.
Whitney and them didn't have enough, though. I feel like you have to have a good balance, like, of that. Like, Ty and Ella, like, they were the fan favorite for, like, the entire thing because of, like, they had the explosive moments, but then they also had, like, the, ooh, I'm telling you I love you. Like, you know, stuff like that. This is new for me. I used to be a playboy. Like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Whitney and Lachlan, first of all, Lachlan got no screen time for me. It's like, I don't know who that man is from a can of paint. Like,
yeah, it was kind of weird. Like,
everybody just said he was cool, but like
super nice guy.
Super nice.
Yes.
But, like, no personality. Like, my personality is that I'm nice.
That's fair, but like I also felt like everybody was giving, I guess that's fair. Okay, I can't even give anything else to say about Logan other than like everybody said. Remember the Kiss Mary Pie challenge? Like everybody was like marrying Logan.
Yeah.
I was like, that was the first time I was like, oh, like, you know, maybe he does have a personality that I just don't know about. But you're right in the sense that every single time he would come on screen, it was more about what he had to say about Whitney versus anything else, and Whitney wouldn't enlighten anything other than how he treated her. So it was hard. That's a fair point. I also think it was, you know, he's coming in off of Casa versus Ty and Ella. They were literally the original couple. Like they I forgot that America, or not America. I forgot that the nation put them together.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I also thought would give them a bit of a bump, but you know, I really thought Whitney was gonna win. So Pitty, you didn't think that Whitney would win?
No, you can ask Amani, man. From the jump, I was like, all right. So Whitney was cool. I think she had the like fan base behind her. She had a solid fan base behind her. Twitter is behind her, all that jazz. But to win Love Island, like, two people in the couple have to be notable. If I don't know who you are, like, Lockham is like, oh, it's super nice. Everybody's talking all night. This only happened like the last week or so anyway, that people started talking about what a great guy he was. But the fact that you haven't had any like quote unquote test, like, you know, or anything beyond the he just adores me and I adore him, like, that's not selling tickets, man. Like, nobody's gonna want to like want you to win at that point. Like, so I mean their date was cool though. I give him that. Ooh, yeah. But like,
I don't know why he didn't just ask her out. Like,
it was, yeah, just play the game. But I think that he's like, oh, I'm so authentic that people will like, I don't want to do that. But it's like, this is a game. Like, pick up what Sammy and Tyreek are doing. Like
read the room. Read the room. Like, come on. I don't know. He fumbled. He literally fumbled. I think she was waiting for it too.
Yeah,
I really
think
do.
So too.
Like,
I mean, she kind of hit it with the family.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very lackluster.
That made him like him more though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as far as like his personality, I liked him more because he didn't just fold. Because he kind of had in his mind, like he talked about it early in the show, like, hey, I'm not gonna.
He has no money. No money for it.
Not in the context. I'm talking about like the whole being like, oh, ask her to be your boyfriend, like, or actually be your girlfriend or whatever, like, type situation. Like, he stood on it. Like, he said, hey, like, I want to see what it's like on the outside. And no matter how many moments they shared, no matter how many people was going around the villa saying, I like you, here's a note in your cubby. Like, he wasn't folding for it. Like, and I respect that. Like, you know what I'm saying? At least you have some type of backbone, because you're going to need one with Whitney.
He fumbled Whitney 50K. That's it.
That's it. Thank you.
That's it.
Yes.
He fumbled. You know what also blew me? I know this is nothing, but Whitney's wig sucked.
Really?
No, not during the season. The finale.
Oh, that
Live, the bob.
yeah, I didn't like that.
That wasn't her work. I know that wasn't her work.
You could tell that they had the styling of the finale was not giving. Somebody was talking about that.
It was like weird.
It was very strange. Like I just didn't understand. So yeah, no, it's hard. It was hard. I mean, yeah. And then, and then we have Sammy and Jess. I mean, like outside of the actual results, we kind of started to hint at this, but like, what were y'all's thoughts on the overall finale, which was pretty much just the results and then those speeches? Like, one, can y'all explain to me, do y'all really like? By the way, I haven't watched every single season of Love Island. I've watched season 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, 6, and then this one, 10. So again, I'm not like as big of a fan as we have on this cast, but how do y'all feel about this kind of marriage like proposal? Do y'all like that as a concept on Love Island? Is that just a sticky point for the show?
You mean like when they do the speeches?
Yeah, because it feels like marriage.
It is.
It literally was like Susan O. Suits an artist.
Like, I like that. What I don't like is the fact that they do like their reunion right after. Like, I wish it was more of like the Love is Blind. I don't like the whole year, but okay, Real Housewives, they wait some time. The cast gets to watch the season, and then they're able to have their notes and be like, bah, 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 like coming at them. I wish we could see that.
That's fair. What are y'all thoughts
right now?
Yeah, I mean, of course they are. They probably haven't seen the season. That they probably haven't. But April, what do you think? Like, do you like that ending ceremony?
I am gonna out myself and say that this is the first season that I've watched.
It's embarrassing. I dedicated damn near like months to this show.
But I've seen the US version, like one season of the US, the last season.
No, that was literally the worst season they've had. Oh my God.
Which season was that? The one with
season 3? No, season 4.
What are the names of the winners?
I don't even know.
Okay. Yes, it's terrible.
You didn't watch like Justine's season.
No, I didn't watch Justine's season.
Yeah,
oh, that was the best.
Okay. So I mean the ending, yeah, like it was cool. I didn't like I thought Whitney's, I really was thinking about Whitney's dress and wig. I was like, I feel like it just wasn't bringing out her features. Like every time she dressed up, I felt like she looked so beautiful, just brought everything out, stunning. And then this time I was just thinking like, damn, I don't know who dressed her, but it just doesn't look that good. But yeah, my thoughts are, it was cool. I was really disappointed. I just was like, I don't know if I want to watch again because it was such a disappointing ending for me. I felt like I wasted my time with Jess and Sammy. So that's how I really felt. I was like, what is this? Like, I just felt like I was like holding on to my breath all season. and then it was like the ending was just horrible. So I enjoyed it. It was a nice experience. And it's literally like a drug. Like every morning I'd wake up and I'm like, what happened? Waiting for it. And I'm like, this is how people are with these shows. Like, yes, I have to stop. It's an addiction. Literally, I would get up in the morning, make my breakfast, and I'm like, I wonder what happened. Like, go and try to find it. So it's actually a problem. Like, it's a good show.
Do y'all like it's like, no, it is a really good show. But do y'all think that the winners are gonna ruin this mark on this season and how good it was? No. I mean, I would say this was a pretty great season.
This is a phenomenal season.
I think it was a good season though, from the standpoint of the producers. Like, I'm not like, oh, these was a great cast. Like, everybody's so memorable. I'm probably not gonna remember any of these people in like 5 months. I'm not gonna lie to you. But what I can say is the producers, as far as like compared to past seasons, like the plot twist they were throwing in there, elite. Like the actual airing of all the fights, and first of all, they turned the Grafties into like a second movie night.
Yeah.
That alone,
Yeah.
genius. Like you literally brought back more drama. Like, and I
Like
needed it because
days before they were leaving. Like
I
who thinks
literally needed it. So yeah, producers, I remember them. That's why I remember this season. Everybody else, I'm sorry. You can kick rocks in England. I don't know who you are after this. So
That's fair. That's fair. Sorry, going back to though the the actual finale, like were there any other moments within those speeches that really stood out to you all?
I love Tyreek.
Yeah.
Tyreek's
Really?
speech was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was
That was
really
my
good. I was
favorite.
surprised.
Hmm.
I thought he
I
might
think
have
I
been just
think
everyone
like
was.
left behind.
Yeah, he was like, "You're my first love, my first girlfriend, and hopefully my last." I was like, "Oh."
that was cute.
Like I felt like he was nervous too. Like I could hear it in his voice. I mean, as you, and so I don't know. It
He
just
was
felt like he was
nervous.
being genuine. So it was nice. I liked his speech a lot. Everyone else, I was just kind of like, this is cringe. I don't know. I just didn't like it, but his was nice and I don't know, genuine to me.
Yeah, his was my favorite. I feel like Sammy, when he said "I love you" at the end, really threw me off.
Ugh,
Like what? like, like
it's so
Yeah.
we already
fake.
talked about talking to other girls for the whole speech, and
Literally.
then yeah, that's how I felt. Talk about
All of
girls.
Sammy's speeches was
My
like
eyes are
perfect.
wandering. Then I love you, by the way. Like
Yeah, no, it was terrible. I mean, to Tyreek, like to Tyreek's speech though, he was literally yelling at one point.
Yeah, why was he doing that? Is he nervous? Why is he yelling?
He stepped back and was reading. It's like he had a proclamation. I was like, this man is so authentic. And I have personally been kind of a Ty hater, but he has truly turned around and had the full. We'll talk about that a little later too, but he had a full character development. I have to say though, with Whitney, the line that did it for me for like Whitney's speech, which it was authentic for her. I do wish she got a little bit more emotionally vulnerable, but when she said, "We have completely different life experiences, but we both understand that love shouldn't hurt," I was like,
it's like
So
drop
bar.
the bars.
bars. Like how do y'all feel about that concept? Like, do you feel, yes, it's entertaining TV to see all the ups and downs with the other couples, but that was one of the reasons why I really felt like Whitney and Locken should have worked, because it's like from jump they have been a safe space and it hasn't felt fake. Like Molly and Zach, it's like, oh, we're putting on that we're getting along, but we really just don't talk to each other. Whereas Whitney and Locken, it just at every point in turn, it felt like they were always on the same page, other
Yeah.
than like maybe one or two times. But how do y'all feel about that concept of safety?
I feel like I feel like it's a testament, I guess, to kind of the emotional maturity that Whitney and Lockham had. Like that's always one thing she used to like champion him for. Like, oh, he has such emotional maturity. But I feel like most of the people that come in actual Love Island are not one that emotionally mature,
Mhm.
and two really aren't there for love. So the whole concept of safety, like I don't know if that's going to apply to everybody, but I'm glad at least worked out for them. Hopefully that applies in the real world as well,
Sure.
because we all know that that's about to go.
Yeah. Hold your predictions, everyone.
Yeah.
We will that. We will. But any other moments from the speeches themselves?
I really don't remember. I only like guys.
That was
Molly
pretty.
and Zach just cringe.
Yeah, Zach was painful.
Yeah.
Zach
You
was
know,
painful
this
to
is
watch.
so messed up. I was nervous that he didn't know how to read.
Oh, oh, mommy.
I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, do you think he can read?
Nah, I can see that.
I
can see that.
genuinely cannot. No, because he literally repeated himself at one point in time. But Zach, I think, so excited not to be on live television anymore. It was hard. I know it was hard for him. Were there any heartwarming moments of the finale outside of Ty's speech, or even just the last week, I will say, that really did it for you all? even with even the final dates, just asking that. Mm.
Oh, I thought the final dates were so cute. I feel like they were one of the better ones too.
Really?
They had a
Yeah,
better budget.
that part.
They
That
had a
part.
better budget for sure.
Yeah, because I don't remember. Definitely last season they were able to leave the island, but like previously, I don't think so. Um, I'm just, one. This is kind of random, but like I'm happy they took away the baby challenge
True.
because that's usually during the last week. Um, I feel like they did a really good job of like showing just like the couples conversing this last week rather than like random distractions or like challenges or like weird shit.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this last week hit for me. Like it was every single day was drama. I was like, how are they doing this? Because I've just from the 3 seasons I watched previously, it's easy to kind of yada yada skip through the
I usually
last.
don't watch it. I don't watch a couple last episodes, only just the finale because it's so boring.
It is, but this I was like injected. Okay, I need to see every single moment till the end. Other than like the last episode, like I was like, we're kind of dragging here.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see the recaps. I already know what happened. Other than that, like major recap, which how about we just dive into that point right now? Just talking about the season, it was crazy seeing them kind of pull out all the different highlights. I was mad as hell though that they didn't like showcase enough of Sammy's like villainous side. I'm like, oh, and before we get into season recap, sorry, I know all over the place. Did y'all feel like they shipped in that audience just to go woo whenever Sammy and Jess were on the screen? Did y'all notice that?
Yeah, so they producer pick, yeah. Because no one else would do it. They were paid to do that. Literally paid. It was really weird.
Per diem. They probably got per diem. I think that's like
every clap was 10 pounds.
10 pounds per diem, please.
I going back to your point about what's boring, how like the last couple of episodes are really boring.
Sure.
Now it just reinforces how like Ella B and Mitch. Sorry. I had a hot take that like the reason why Whitney and Locken kept Ella B and Mitch was because of the producers. And now I think this just reinforces that because of how much drama Ella B and Mitch had for these last couple of episodes, which usually is not a thing during the last couple of episodes.
Hot take. Very hot take. How do y'all feel about that?
I honestly, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead, April. I want to hear yours actually.
No, oh no, I was as soon as Whitney chose Ella B and Mitch, I was thinking the same exact thing because she kept saying, what did Whitney? She kept saying,
he's a character.
Something about character. He's a character, and I was like, what does that have? Like, he's a character. And I like, she was very like, I stand by it. And so I was thinking, it just doesn't make sense for Whitney to do this. And so I was thinking that it's something that I'm like, the producers probably pulled them aside and said, choose these people. So I agree with you. I was having the same exact thing because of the comment she made about character. I'm like, okay.
Well, I got like two different opinions on that. I agree with it on one stance because I know like Katie and Uzi were boring. Like they even said it on like their little post interviews. Like, yeah, like we didn't get no screen time because we just literally were just sitting there like and unbothered. So I get that. But then I also think it's from the standpoint of like I think Lockham had a lot more say than we think. Like we kind of just think it came down to just strictly Whitney. But I feel like Lockham was probably just like, hey, Ella B's only been here for like 2 weeks or whatever. Like, you know, Katie and Uzi, like they're pretty already established and like you can see them.
Scott. Wasn't it Scott?
No, Scott got kicked out first. I mean, they were automatic. Yeah, they were automatic click. I'm talking about like when it came down to like Whitney and Lockham. No, Mitch and Ella B and Katie and Uzi.
Yeah.
And I think that was mostly like a lot more Lockham than we think. And Lockham was probably just like, hey, Ella B hasn't been here for that long, but she's obviously started to establish something with Mitch. I think Katie and Uzi were going to work on the outside. They're kind of already established and they're older. Like they're both of them like 27, 28. Everybody else in the village like 22, 24. So I think he's probably just like, if we basically kick Katie and Uzi out the villa now, like it's not really going to affect them. Like Katie's already been on here once, like, you know, and they're already established. So might as well just keep Mitch and Mela B because they're kind of getting to know each other still. LB just got here, etc. Like, so that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't really think the producer had anything to do with it, but it was just more so like if I kick one of these couples out of the villa, like who's actually going to be able to make it work already?
Yeah.
Like, compared to who won't.
It's probably a mixture of both. Like, I could also see Locken, even though he was close to Uzi from Casa, being like, I'm one of the shortest couple. Like, I don't want to be the only couple where I'm like the one who's been here the least amount of time. Like Ella B definitely, had been there a week, maybe 2 weeks. So I could see him from a personal standpoint wanting to give her a chance, but also from a strategic standpoint too in that regard. So that's really, really, really fair. Yeah, no, Mitch, chaos. Tyreek, chaos. Sammy, chaos. Yeah. So it's funny that you said you wouldn't remember this season for the characters because there was just so many crazy ones, but you have more seasons to compare to. Maybe this is just fresh, but like they will stand out for me, honestly.
That's the thing. So I was telling Amari this like before, like they are characters, but like it's supposed to be a couple show. I feel like you remember couples more than you just marry like specific people. Because I mean, it's like how many people? 20, 30 people who come on each like summer, like
32.
bombshells and not. Yeah. So I feel like I'm gonna remember a couple more than like Dami and India, like iconic couple. Like I'm gonna remember them.
Great point. Or Molly Bay and
Molly Bay, Top Fury.
Yeah. Like
or like
that.
Ekin-Su and Davide. Like you gotta remember the couple. Like Tyreek is cool, but like Mitch is cool, but like I'm not gonna remember those dudes, bro. It's just some sassy guys that came on the summer show. Like it's cool.
No, Tyreek is definitely one of the girls. Like he is
he's a girl.
He should come on this podcast.
He would be yelling the entire time.
Shut up.
You were there. Oh man. Yeah, okay. Well, let's rewind back. Let's go back and start to really break down just what happened. Like really what happened this season. I mean, like from the first 2 weeks, first couples, I mean, I gotta even remember their names, honestly, but
see already.
But I personally like. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just gonna say I feel really bad about Ruchi.
Oh yes, please. That's gonna.
I wish I saved her.
I mean, yes, she was so beautiful. Like I just loved her fits, her look. Like, but honestly, her personality. Maybe she's like Whitney, where she used to warm up, but she just was not the most open person. Like, and maybe they didn't bring anybody in there for her. Maybe they thought that her and Medi were going to get hit off or something.
No, that was weird.
Yeah.
I forgot about
So do y'all want to know what I heard?
What?
Oh, what?
All right, let's talk about it. Because, earlier, once the finale finished, what I'm saying? I was like, let me just start watching their little post interviews or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So they was talking about, I guess Andre mentioned how, I think one of the main reasons that, like, she had to go was because remember when Andre was, like, trying to get to know Catherine or whatever again?
Yeah.
He was like, yo, Ruchi, this has been cool. Like, I'm still messing with you, but I kind of want to see what's up with Catherine still. I feel like there's kind of some unfinished business there, yeah, et cetera. Right. So in the show, they kind of just showed her just being like awesome, like, okay, like, and just kind of like keeping it pushing, like, you know what I'm saying? But in Andre's interview or whatever after, he was just saying, like, yeah, they didn't air it, but like she spazzed on me. Like she needed to get talked to. Because basically, I guess she went to go talk to Jess about it. And Jess being Jess, gonna put a battery in her back. So she went over there and went off on that man. Like, you think I'm a dickhead, blah, 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 blah. Like spazzing like on this man. So I think once the producers saw that, they were like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. Somebody's gotta go. And Andre already had too many entanglements. So
many. Oh, Andre. Yeah. I sometimes wish that he would have stayed a little longer, just a little bit. But it was obvious he wasn't like able to keep anybody. That's crazy though about Ruchi though. They never showed her with that type of personality. Like
exactly. They did. They would have loved her.
Absolutely would have loved
And that's
her.
interesting because I'm trying to think of the white girl with the really big lips who was the ring dancer, or ring leader, whatever, last season. She was super fiery. She was always crying. Remember, what's her name?
Yes.
Olivia. So
Yes.
it's like, it's funny how this white girl, she's able to do that. And Olivia was at that big age of 28, right? But Ruchi
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
It's really odd. Yeah, no. I don't even know what that man's name is, but the first one gone, I was like, okay, he was boring. That white man, yeah. And then
Was it George?
I guess
I thought it was Greg.
you can call him anything at this point. I wouldn't know his name. Sure. I was like, that's the perfect first boot. Zach came in. Zach with Catherine. Zach was coupled up with so many people. I never understood it. What did y'all think about him and Catherine?
I thought it was cute.
Fail from the start. Like, it wasn't gonna work. Let's be real. Like, it wasn't gonna work.
Why?
Because we all know Catherine's personality, man. Like, and first of all,
he doesn't like Kat.
Hot take.
Yeah, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Kat. I'm not gonna hold you. I think she got away with a lot of stuff. Like, she wasn't getting enough slander for me, and it was kind of like, yo, look, trust me. Anytime there's a black person on a TV show, I'm with them. But I feel like in some instances, like, she should have caught some flack, like, you know. But she was just kind of like flying by, like, oh, I told you what's up. Like, I told you what's up. But also, she did pick her victims correctly. You feel me? Like, you picked the Scottish dude, and Scott, you're gonna get away with that. Walk over that man. You feel me? Like, who else? Andre, short guy. Like, you know, it's just like she knew who she was picking. Like, she wasn't like going to like doing this with like Tyreek or something like that. That would have been like a battle of like
crazy
Guardians. Yeah, like, like, she picked the victims well. I give her that. Like,
no, that's fair, I guess. So no, we have, his name was George. Sorry, I just had to look this up for my.
Damn, I said Greg.
Close enough.
Shout out to Penny for knowing. But no, that's interesting. I mean, we'll get to the whole Scott thing, but I actually like Catherine. Like, I like that Catherine was giving. I mean, she was kind of giving like, she was giving what she said she was. I've been in all these situationships, so I know how to like pull a guy, but I just don't know like what to do with him when I have him, you know. Like, even with Andre, it was like after a while she got bored, so she went to Zach, and plus Zach was, I guess, everybody's heartthrob in the villa. And then when Zach like completely just mugged her off, like, who'd she hop to after that? Was it Scott?
That's what she faked for Andre for a little bit again.
She faked with Andre just to stay in the villa, and it worked. It worked, and Ruchi got out after that point.
But Andre said in that interview, Penny only watched the beginning, that like he actually really liked Catherine.
Yeah,
a lot.
I think it's her argument style. I think that also like kind of turned me off from her. Like,
yes, she did not know how to argue.
Of course, you loved it. Of course, yeah. It was just, for me, bro, I feel like for TV or like whatever, like I automatically assume like UK television is very like censored, very calm. Yeah. Like, people are watching this eating their beans and toast, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I think her like argument style was just so explosive. Like, even when she got into an argument with Scott, like, it was just like, Whitney, what do you think? Like, and
like, getting everyone involved.
Yeah, like, dude, like, I thought we were just having a conversation. Like, you turn this into a forum. He never seen something like that. And we like, this is a melanated, you know what I'm saying, show. You know, we've all have family members, cousins, like, we are all familiar with foreign arguments. You feel me? And I feel like he was not ready for that. Like,
no. Well, I take that back. Actually, I disagree with you. Scott was ready with that action. Okay, he had the one-liners the entire time. Like, I think he was put off by it, but Scott was also super sassy, especially.
But he was bullying. Look, little Liam. What he said that was the first one she spoke in like 4 weeks.
But facts though, she had this fucking.
Like, just leave the mute by yourself.
It still
That
kills
was
me to this
me.
day. Whenever I see that clip, I bust out laughing because he
Just
was
like-
dead ass.
It's like, you don't talk. What are you doing? I'm like, and like, of course, we're only watching an hour every day.
Yeah.
Like, you're with her 24/7. I mean, she really don't be talking. That's crazy.
Apparently, they was like fake ops though.
True.
Like Lee was
Wait,
saying
who,
how
who,
that
who?
happened. Lee and Scott, they're like fake ops. I say fake ops because she was like, yeah, we've gotten into arguments like that before. Like that's just the only one that they like showed or whatever. But they were
Really?
like cool after it though. They would say she was like, oh yeah, we would get into those like kind of like tips because you know Scott's sassy, like
Yes.
and he loves like them little cheeky
One line,
one-liners, like you were saying.
cheeky. Just one.
Eh,
He will shoot you like right there. It's like he won't say much else. That's all he'll say. You know.
because he be sex nobody to say nothing back. But like she was like, yeah, we got into it a few times, but then we would always like sit down after and kind of like make up or whatever. But they didn't show that. They just showed that one at what was it, the
The
movie night?
movie?
Yeah, that one.
Mhm.
First one, yeah, that was crazy.
Whew.
That was
Right.
fun.
Just
Elite television, great television.
we will get to that, but like I do want to zoom back because I was trying to figure out like when did Scott come in, and he actually did not come in until like I think day 52. Oh no. Okay, no, that's day 14. Okay, so he came in like after the first 2 weeks. But the first week, that's like when Zachariah had gone stolen Catherine, but then went and tried to like what's it called? Get with Molly. I mean, before we speed past week 1, I cannot not mention Mitch and how he was moving. Like Mitch threw me off from the start in terms of how he was moving with Molly. Like any girl, like it repeated himself every single time. Like, I'm with you, I'm all about you, I need to be with you, you're mine, you're mine. It was like weird. Like how did y'all feel about how'd y'all feel? How'd you feel about Mitch?
But no, I think it's just love bombing. Like, isn't that
Yeah.
what that is? We're just seeing
Yeah.
it like on TV, you
Yes.
know?
Absolutely. Ugh,
Yeah.
that was
I really
weird.
was wondering, like, does he know he's being videotaped? Like, is he aware? You know, like it was shocking to see him in action.
It was.
Great
It
part was I don't
was.
think it was like really love bombing as much as his ego was just hurt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, cause like love bombing was normally just like I gotta throw it all on him at one time. I feel like he was just like, dang, Zach's about to take my bird. Like, nothing I can do about it. All I can do about it is try to throw as much reassurance to her as possible. Like, and I feel like his ego was just hurt. He was just like, nah, I gotta figure out some way to do it, and I'm not like a 6'8" basketball player, so like, what can I do? Profess my love, like.
I did see an interview with Katie, her saying that like Mitch was like a super fan, that like he studied all the seasons and like his goal was to be like the most famous like cast member out of the season. Like that was he was like, and he talked about winning all the time, which like is interesting because like his whole speech to Jess when he left, being like,
Yeah.
I want you to win, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I was like, said, there has never been a season where like they spoke about winning like that. Like a cast member never really mentions like the not top 4, but like first place before.
Right.
But Mitch, clearly that was number 1 on his mind. And I think that's what, I don't know. He's clearly like a producer's favorite because
Yeah.
It's great TV. I saw this theory on Twitter where they were saying all of Mitch and Ella's fans, whoever they were, moved over, started voting for Sammy and Jess.
That makes sense.
That's
But
how
why would they have fans?
Or sorry, Mitch's fans, I guess. I mean, but
I
I don't
would have
know.
fans. I think they would have fans because I mean, think about it. Mitch was in that thing single for weeks. First of all, I think that is the true testament to Mitch in like its entirety. Is this man was on a couple show for 3 weeks, single, finessing, like purely finessing and staying on the show. Like multiple couples getting clipped off. Oh my God, this is my favorite. Doesn't matter. Clear it out the way for Mitch because Mitch is finessing right now. Gone. Like you don't have the heart for this game, and that's what he literally told everybody. You guys do not have the heart for this. Like he had nothing to lose.
You're
and
right.
that's iconic.
It is. It is. It's crazy. So yeah, no. Mitch Mitch was moving mad crazy. I'm so glad he got his comeuppance in the later days. But as you know, we welcome, Scott. Scott gets with Catherine. We see a couple of switch ups happen when who was it? Charlotte and Leah came into the villa, stealing whoever. We can kind of, not that this needs to be yada yada, but I think the main part out of this was week 2. The main part of week 2 was just like, oh, Sammy and Tyreek are still moving mad crazy when they have girls. Like, I mean, how did y'all feel like how in the early days with Tyreek and Ella? How'd y'all feel about their dynamic? Like, did you think Ella was doing the most, or that Tyreek was just or do you think, like, if she didn't do the most, Tyreek would have thought he could walk all over her? Like, what were y'all thoughts about their dynamic?
I thought it was like natural. Like I feel like if they were in Love Island, like of course like you have your main, but you're still dating other people, and like obviously it's gonna hurt Ella because she saw it, but it's like you like this is the part of the game. Like you're supposed to meet other people.
Sure.
I don't know, but I do think like from the jump they both liked each other a lot, and I think it was uncomfortable for both of them, and that's why they always had that like those weird fights.
Yeah.
It's like
I
temper
think this whole
tantrum.
season's dynamics was backwards. Like
Really?
from the jump, it all was back. Because think about it. Okay, when you first start a Love Island season, right? Normally the first 2 or 3 weeks, it's kind of like everybody's kikiing. Ooh, like I'm getting to know you. I'm getting to know you. I'm getting to know you. But I felt like, especially with like Sam. Well, not I can't say Sam and Jess just yet. But with like Tyreek and Ella, she was like my man, my man, my man. Like, and he was like, dude, we just got in here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Like, it's
Yeah.
not my fault. Bombshells are picking me. And then we get to like, later in their dynamic relationships or whatever, and they're quote unquote exclusive. And Ella's
That
like,
was crazy.
JK, I'm still bringing dudes
That was
back. Like, I'm still getting to
wild.
know dudes. So it's like, I feel like this whole dynamic for all the couples, especially with Sam and Jess, same way. It was backwards. Like, from the jump, like immediately from the jump. Like
Sure. Sure. April, what
I
about you? What
still
do you
don't
think?
know why she did that. Like I still don't know why she did that with Uzi.
she was afraid to
I
get
have
played.
thoughts. I have thoughts.
Yeah, I have thoughts about that too. I mean, I felt exactly the same way. I just was thinking like, this is a lot. I mean, she was doing a lot in terms of, like claiming him already, and they have only been there for a week, 2 weeks. But everybody says that from like what I was reading, that 1 week feels like a couple months in there because you're spending so much
Yeah.
time with them. It's not like real life. And then you're also, like Imani mentioned, you're literally seeing them date other people, flirt with other people, kiki it up with other people. That's so different. So I feel like I would also be like her and go a little bit crazy. Like my self-awareness, I feel like I understand where she's coming from, just because it's just so different to be in that environment. But I also feel like Ty could have been a little bit more respectful. I don't know. Like he could have moved a little bit more differently, try to be a little bit more careful, maybe not make it so obvious. But I don't know how you do that, because it seemed like everybody could hear everyone's conversation.
Right.
Like, like
Woo, there's
they'd be
nowhere
having a
to hide.
conversation and like everyone's silent listening. So it's just awkward. Like imagine you're saying my man, my man, my man, and he's right there talking to somebody else. Like, even if you're in a dating stage, if that's happening in front of your face, like that's different. I don't
Can I
know.
ask y'all a question though?
Yeah, go
I want
ahead.
to ask the entire group this question though. If you guys were in her position, would y'all just simply get your get back? Like I feel like in previous seasons, like if it's the beginning of the show and like you really like a guy, but like you're not exclusive, there's no title, etc. Like the women would be like, all right, I'm gonna crack on as well. And they would do it better than the guys.
Yeah,
True.
But I feel like in this season, like the guys was the one with the motion, which
100%.
was crazy when you think about it. Because you normally Love Island, it's like the women are normally getting to know everybody, and then the guys either just like sitting there with his hand in his pocket, like Shaq was a couple seasons ago, or they're like Dami in India, where she brought back a dude and Dami was fighting for his life, stuff like that. Like, but I feel like the women this season were just like, I'll wait, or I'm gonna just watch him while he dates everybody else, and they weren't really like cracking on. Like,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Ella didn't have anyone that she was interested in. So I also understood that, because I felt like she wasn't attracted to anyone else outside of Ty. So that made it hard for her.
I mean,
I
Ty
feel
is
like,
hard.
He's
I don't think
fine.
she
That
tried
means
though. I don't
fine.
think
I
she
don't think she tried
tried.
at all. Yeah, I think
She
she
didn't
probably just
try.
looked at physical and she was like, well, I know I'm not attracted to these guys. And then as soon as she got a chance and there was somebody attractive, she did. She did do her thing a little bit with Uzi.
With the well, yeah, and like I think it also helps the fact that she knew. I think like Ella is one of those types where it's like if I feel familiar with you, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna go off
Yeah.
of. Like, yeah, hi, he's cute, whatever. But like I think it was because that was her first, and there wasn't really anything that turned her off other than him talking to other girls. Um, it was like, okay, you're familiar to me now, so I'm going to attach to you. And I do think that to your point, Penny, that did kind of cut her off at the knees because I think she was always so uber worried about
Yeah.
losing Ty. Like, now, one thing I don't want is to lose Ty. And I think
Yeah.
that there was like security there where it's like, okay, if you were just to play with Ty maybe a little bit, you know, that could have kind of at least given him a taste of his own medicine enough. Because obviously
Mhm.
Castle did the trick. I mean, it was we'll get to that, but like if she would have done that even a little earlier, again, not so backwards, I do think that that would have at least, you know, I don't want to say teach a lesson, but even as yeah, teach a lesson, I guess, so that Ty didn't do that maybe 2 or 3 times to her because he did that not only with Leah, but
Mhm.
also when Katie comes in to
Yeah.
like week 3. How'd y'all feel about Katie's entrance?
I thought it was corny. She didn't have to be on the show.
But
Sorry.
she didn't
No.
give much.
And she tried to do what Ella B did. She tried.
She failed because
She failed.
Ella B did not give it one to she didn't give a crap about anything. Like she was like, I'm for anybody, and I'm definitely gonna be for Mitch because I'm strategic, and
Yeah.
obviously he is too. But like Katie, even for her to deny Zach's kiss, I was like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Like
I was
you
like, oh, that was like, girl, why are you acting like you're like 45 with 2 kids at home? What are you doing?
It was so odd to me. She came in there off some, yes, I'm the prize, but it's like, okay, if you're the prize, you do know that eventually you are going to couple up with one of them and act like like you want to be in a relationship. And I think the biggest thing that a lot of these girls like kept on messing up is just it's the product of Love Island, but just simply going off of looks. Like, why did she go for Zach, bro? I don't get it. Like, I get in a sense he's fine, but what do y'all talk about? Like, what is he saying? I don't know what he's saying to
I think
grab
that was the
these.
problem too, though, because remember, like, they were talking about, I guess, well, the whole Mitch thing happened, the situation. They were just like, yeah, they said the convo was kind of dry, like,
Mhm.
and it was funny because in her interview after they were talking, she was like, yeah, Mitch said it was kind of dry or whatever, but like, she said, I guess during the date, Zach told her that he gets nervous eating in front of girls, right? So that's why.
Oh,
That's why I guess the date was so bad or it was dry or whatever, or their combo was dry. Like I think, yeah. But also I know Katie, like she was talking about how like when she came in the show, she was like, yeah, like I've already been on it once. And she was on it when that show was like wild or whatever. So
Crazy.
she was
Yeah.
like, I already fell in love like as soon as I got in there. And basically she was moving like Mitch, like when she first got in the first time. So she was like, yeah, this time I'm coming in like calm.
yeah,
Like I'm not trying to be pressing on nobody, this and the third. But obviously that worked against her because she got paired
yeah.
with Zach.
And also, she got a there's a rumor that she has a boyfriend. She had a boyfriend.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. We'll
Yeah.
see if it actually comes into fruition, but I can believe it. It is just like casting. You didn't do your
Yeah. Like
job.
why? Like why? Why do that?
I mean, it a question for all y'all actually is do y'all either one like the idea of them bringing 1 to 2 Islanders back from previous seasons and or would you like to see an all returnee season?
Ooh.
That would be tough.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would like to see the all returnee season. That would be a fire show, honestly.
Because
But I
how
feel
many
like it
people
will
are
also
not
be
together?
skewed.
Say it again.
Wait.
It
When
might
did
be
the
like a
first?
little skewed. Because like think about it, like if everybody kind of knows how it works already, like people might just start playing the game, like just to kind of like hang around, and then it's like who's really playing the game, who's actually here for love, like which kind of how a regular show is, but I feel like it'll be even more like it'll be a whole bunch of messy Mitches, like trying to get their like fame up. I feel like
Fair. I see that.
I mean, yes, but then again, so I'm coming from a background of loving Survivor,
Yeah.
loving Survivor, and Survivor has been on for 40 seasons, with about a fourth of those being returnee, and the returnee seasons are the best, like because they already know what's tea, but it's everybody knows what's tea. I think like it sucks when you have returnees with newbies because they're easy to get got, but like if it's everybody is a returner, it's like, okay, at least everybody's going to be looking out for what you're saying, Penny, where it's like, oh, are you with me for love, or are you with me for the game? You know? And it's like, maybe it would be on the producers to try to suss those people out. But Monty, what about you?
The age would be older though, naturally, right?
Naturally, yeah.
Well, which I think would be, I don't know.
it'd be like flavor of love.
Like the narrative of like, oh, I'm almost 30, like I want to just get married, so maybe they're playing to that. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. Well, the next piece here, as far as season recap, is Casa Amor. Thoughts, all of the thoughts. Like, what did y'all feel? How did this Casa Amor compare to other seasons? And then how'd y'all feel about the recouplings?
Boring.
Yeah.
Boo. One long boo. Like last season, man, they was over there sucking titties and all that in the bed. Like, bro, like it was active. And now we over here talking about you kiss somebody? Oh my God, I can't get over that. Like, bro, what are we talking about? It's Casa Amor, bro. Like, this is supposed to be debauchery, like pure, unadulterated debauchery. And then you're supposed to apologize for it later for like another 2 weeks. That is literally Love Island's whole script. Like,
wait, so y'all agreed with like Sammy kissing those 2 girls? Because that was wild to me.
No, that's Casa. What, like, do it? Yeah.
But back to back is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he could have ate a snack in between something. Like, he could have.
He didn't. But thank God, because like I feel like Tyree was looking a cop out. Like I think he was thinking about first place. That's why he didn't do anything. And because he was on his best behavior, I think it made other people feel bad. And it was weird when he was trying to tell other people to be like, "Oh, just kiss her, just go." Like,
living through them, legitimately living.
Yeah, but that's like weird. It's like
it is weird.
You're saying it out loud. Like you're telling me to cheat out loud. That's weird.
Yeah, he might as well have been a producer's play. It was odd to me. But no, Sammy was crazy. Montello, is that his name? Montello? My bad.
Not Montello.
He had no backbone. I think I saw a tweet that was like, when you find out that your man is not the leader of his group. Damn.
Sad.
He went out so sad. Like, no. I mean, any other thoughts? How'd y'all
all
feel?
Guys can relate to that though.
Really?
Like, because think like, so I know if you're like a guy and you have like, it's every guy has like a couple friends who are in relationships or whatever, right?
Sure.
And the worst person to go out with or have like be on holiday with or like a whole, like, you know what I'm saying, like a vacation with is a guy who's in a relationship, because he literally knows he cannot do anything. So all he does is try to egg people on the entire time. Like, bro, you want to be your wingman? You want to be me your wingman, bro? I got you. Like stuff like that, or like, bro, go kiss her. Come on. If I was you, I would kiss her. Like, because that's what I mean. I can't, but like, if I was you, I would do it. Like, you know, that's literally the worst people to like be on holiday with or be around a whole bunch of like attractive women with, because they know they can't do it. So they're like, you're gonna do it for me, and I'm gonna complain to you till you do. So.
Actual TV job. Very. Honestly, never knew that myself, but that does make sense. And like, I was legitimately, that's so fair. So I guess it wasn't even like Ty really necessarily, like, or them feeling like they had to listen to Ty. It was more so like he's egging them on, like it. Because he can't do it himself. It was just so wild. It was so wild to see Sammy do that though. Like with Gab, like Amber specifically asked him not. Like she was like, "You're not gonna go kiss her right now, though, right?" He was like,
Oh my god, I
No.
forgot about Amber. She's so sad. I also think this Casa's cast was like they were
Awful.
real bombshells.
No,
Y'all,
they didn't
do
look
y'all
good.
remember the black girl? I felt so bad for
I felt
her.
so bad for her. Like
Do we even find out her name? What was her name?
Danielle.
No, they
I
didn't
knew
even
her
give
name.
Yikes.
Danielle.
It's a
Okay.
fucking bird.
Her name's Danielle. Okay.
That was so
Did not know
mean.
it.
It was. I mean, even the cast of boys, they were not
They're like,
giving, other than Locken and Uzi, and
Uzi.
that was it. I don't. No one else was cute.
I think it
I
was the
just
age though. Like I think the producers didn't like do their research before this or nothing like that. Because a lot of the girls were just like, "Oh, he's too young." Like there was one dude,
Yeah.
some I forget his name. It's like some with a K. But they was like, "Oh yeah, he's my type. He's my type." But he's so young. He's like 19, 20. Like
Mm-mm.
that's in the third. And I feel like, bro, yeah, I gotta do your research. Same thing with like the girls. Like
Amber. That was so uncomfortable.
Oh
Weird.
yes, the
Don't
18
talk
and
about it.
26-year-old.
It
Yeah.
literally,
That was really weird. And when she was sleeping outside, I was like, yeah, that's probably for the best. Like she wasn't
Yeah.
sleeping with him. I don't know. Should there be an age limit? Like, is 18 too young?
Yeah.
yeah.
Be
yes.
21.
Like,
You know, we say that, but then Molly May, they always bring up Molly May and Tommy were like 19 and 20. I guess.
Together, they were the same
Yeah.
age together,
Yeah,
Yeah.
together, but I'm like,
though.
why are any of these people not 21? Like,
Yeah.
but I guess we wouldn't have gotten them if that was a rule back then. But yeah, I wish that Amber would have just waited. Apparently, she was supposed to be an OG cast member, but
Oh,
like she got
absolutely.
sick. She got sick, and so they like offered her Casa more. But like I'm like, why would anybody take Casa more over being an OG? Like,
See me season 11. Like, just
come
save me.
on,
Like,
come on, come on. So
oh,
that
she's
was weird. But you know, the big grab of Casa was all of the reactions afterward. I thought that people were gonna react a bit more to Molly coming back. I think Whitney probably had the
no
biggest
one cared.
reaction. No one
Yeah.
cared.
At all.
No one.
Like, it was
But
weird. Like, when Molly would make her eyes big and, like, no
like,
one was doing it back at her.
it's like no one cares.
Like, oh, hey, girl.
But no, everyone was waiting with time. I felt so bad for time, bro. I mean,
yeah.
initially I did. Yeah, I'm gonna hold my breath. Each of y'all, how'd y'all feel about from top to bottom how Ella was moving in Casa More with Uzi and then actually decided to bring him back? Anyway, go first. I'll go up once.
Yeah, Amani knows my stance on this, man. I was sending hate mail to her inboxes. It happened. I'm sorry. I was. I had to send hate mail and stuff because literally, as soon as I saw it happen, I was typing in our group chat. I'm like, "Yo, this is either going to be Tyreek's 13th reason or his villain origin story. There is no in between. Like, it literally, and it turned into his villain origin story because the worst thing you can do with somebody who is like living that kind of lifestyle where it's like I'm a player this and the third and they
Yeah.
start to change is give them a reason to go back.
Mhm.
And that was literally the biggest of possible reasons she could have done in providing that. And honestly, it wasn't even because of like she tried to like paint this whole thing where like, oh, I brought him back because of you. Like I don't you were talking about how you
Yeah.
missed the game, yada yada yada. And I feel like that was such like a lie. Like I feel like it really was because of her own insecurities
Mhm.
and she
Yes.
just didn't want to actually own that, like, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, you have to have trust in a relationship. Like it would not have changed her life if she just came back and he had another girl there. Okay, that's the answer for you, but it's not affecting like you as a
Mhm.
person.
Right,
Like,
right.
but by you trying to put it on him, and that
Yeah.
was that literally that's their whole argument for like the next 3 or 4 days was just like
Yeah.
she thought she did nothing wrong. It's like, oh, I did it because of you. Mind you, they went into Casa exclusive. All of this would have been negated if they were not exclusive before that. Like, but the fact you are exclusive and then you still did that, Tyree better than me personally, because at that point you're playing in my face. Like,
Oh
literally, you're
my
playing in my
God.
face. Like, after everything was you're
No.
playing in my face. So, but yeah, that's my stance on that.
I don't know. I kind of disagree because I mean, like, yes, like what she did is not necessarily right. And I don't know. Like there was just something about even Tyreek even saying like, "Oh, we're exclusive," but I think right
Yes.
afterwards he's like, "Oh, but we're not girlfriend and boyfriend though." There was this like, I don't know if he said, like I remember him saying that, and like I understood it to be like, yes, like we're exclusive, but I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I guess like if a bombshell comes in, we won't necessarily. I just felt like there was a lot happening in their relationship. There was a lot of signs and reasons he gave her not to trust him. Like for any reason. So I think her going and exploring and being nervous about the fact that maybe he'll have somebody else and she may be at risk of going home again, she was protecting herself because he put her at risk that one time when Leah chose him and she was about to go home. And he was just like, yeah, you know, like if he said something afterwards, he was just like, yeah, like if it was Ella, she'd go home and like I'd have to move on. That's how the game works. Like that's the way he was talking. Like, you know, he wasn't like, oh, thank God, she didn't go home. I'm gonna start moving differently now. He was just like, you know, like if it was Ella, it was Ella. I just did not like the way that he was moving. So I could see why she just really felt like she had to protect herself and bring somebody back. Although I do agree that I think it came from her own insecurities, and you're right in that if she had came and she'd seen him with somebody else, it would have been like more information for her. But like, what if she was just like left alone and she had to go home? I don't know, the way the game was being played, who knows what would have happened. So I think she was trying to protect herself also. But again, I'm not an expert in this show. I just know a lot of toxic men like Ty.
Yes, same.
And have had
I like
personal experiences.
Nobody.
He had a lot of growth, but I really did not like the way he was moving. And I felt like she really could have done more to just like let him know how it feels to be like to move the way that he was moving, because I just felt like he was being really disrespectful.
But before Casa, they was good. Like that's what I think threw me off. Also, it's just like before Casa, like y'all were good. Y'all are exclusive, and I feel like that exclusive thing. I get what you're saying, because I mean that can mean anything.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. I mean, with these young kids just saying, "Oh, we're exclusive." What does that mean? I mean, we're talking. What does that mean? Like it's not like anything concrete, like
at all.
But I feel like in Love Island, like being exclusive means like we are exclusive. Like we haven't done the boyfriend and girlfriend thing yet, because normally you gotta wait till like the end of the show for that, and then they do the whole little speech or little surprises, and then you be boyfriend and girlfriend. But like exclusive is supposed to mean exclusive, and that threw me off. I think last season too, when it was like Shaq and Tanya or whatever her name is, the little girl, the big. They had the same problem. Like they were exclusive, and then she brought back another dude from Casa. And everybody's like, yo, what the hell? Like, y'all were so good before this and exclusive, and you just bring back a dude. It's like, oh, I feel like I need to explore it. But it's like, that's not exclusive. That's like, your door is open.
Was that person... I think a lot of men underestimate how much like hurt they cause. I don't want to say men, but like people like they like at the beginning of the relationship, while they were like open, whatever. I think they underestimate how much pain and hurt and like just mistrust that it creates, and like not feeling safe, you know? And so I think that yes, they were good, but when she was at Casa, I felt like she was really like, I don't know, like I feel like that those feelings were coming back of like being uncertain, because she just didn't know what Ty was going to be on. So
no, but I don't think it's from Ty though. I think it's from like her previous relationships, but you can't bring that into your current relationship.
True.
Yeah.
But the Ty like also was moving that way. Like, and just to like at least my thoughts on the whole exclusive thing, Ty, like Sammy, is a player, which I respect. I want to have Love Island players in there who understand, oh, it's week 3 next week, or week 6, whatever. Next week is going to be Casa Amor. So I'm going to make sure to make this exclusive. Like it kind of fit together really nicely for him to be like, I'm going to lock this in because I want to win. I don't think that I obviously, it was obvious though to me that he really, really liked Ella, like even above anybody else. But like, he's like, I'm going to lock this in so she doesn't bring back anybody else. Like it just felt a little strategic after he had already done all of his fun with Katie and Leah. And like with Ella though, I completely agree that I thought that she was gonna go in there when she found Uzi. Monty, I remember even talking to you about this. I was like, oh, like Uzi did everything that she said, came in, right for her. Like,
Mhm.
I thought she was gonna give him a chance, but no, she used him as an actual
Yeah.
pawn just to like to stick it back to Ty, and blamed it on Ty. Was like, stand on your own 2 feet. What if Ty, like, I felt like she should have been prepared for Ty to walk away and be okay with staying with Uzi, but she was not okay with that at all. She was like, no, no, no. I only brought him in just to see if you were gonna bring somebody back, and now that I saw that you weren't, now I'm gonna like.
I
She
want you
wouldn't even
back.
talk to Uzi after that. Like, she legit, like, Uzi
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
that was wild.
He was just sitting there like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of here, guys. This is Zach voice. I'm just here, guys. I'm just kind of hanging around, like, you gonna talk to? I don't know. But
it was wild. No,
Poor guy.
poor guy. He'll be all right. He'll do fine. Him and his little bobby pins, which killed me.
Yeah, what is that about? Like, what is that about? Like, for real. What
So
was that?
strange. It was so strange. But yeah, no. It like any thoughts from Casa? Like, I know, Penny, you had said Catherine and how she came back in
Oh.
with all of and Scott. Like, what please
yeah.
give us your take.
So my thing with that is like, I'm not mad at her for coming back with. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm not going
Ella?
Elam.
Ella?
Yeah, that whatever. But yeah,
That.
that guy, the fitness trainer. My bad. But, so I wasn't mad with her for coming back with him. I just think the way she kind of handled it was very muggy.
Yes.
Like, she could have approached the situation way like, cause I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think Scott liked her that much. TBH, like he just
Yeah.
didn't have no
True.
motion. He had no motion in Casa. Like, the girls weren't, I guess, attractive enough or bad enough or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think that the way she handled it when she got back, just seeing him by himself is just kind of like, and like, it was very like kind of like braggadocious with the demeanor, just like, I brought somebody back, what you gonna do about it? Like. And I felt like she could have just been like, oh yeah, we'll talk later, like we'll keep it cool and there. And I don't think she did that. And then the whole argument and stuff after, like, I think she kind of signed her own villain origin story on that. Like,
Yeah.
she was a fan favorite until she
Yeah.
let her ego hit her. Like,
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I have Bonnie, like, anything to add specifically in how I literally remember just telling you like how crazy it was that Catherine was always yelling at this man.
But like, I just felt like seen,
scene is crazy.
the way that she pulled in Whitney to I wouldn't have done that. I'd be like, Sydney, you better tell.
Whitney was like,
No. When he literally said no, do not. It's like, please.
But I also think that, like, okay, I think Catherine knew that Scott did not like her. I knew that. That's my hot take. So like, I think the reason why she was so heated is because like she peeped that he was faking it. So it's like, what are you doing all this for? Like, this is weird. And like, I think the reason why she was unfazed that like he brought nobody, because it was like, this is my man. Like, I think she actually liked Elam, which is a whole nother situation, because supposedly he just was on the show just to promote his little personal
yeah, I saw that.
Which is actually crazy if you think about how he was moving during Casa. Like, I thought he was proposing.
Me too.
It was crazy.
He was eating her face.
Literally.
All the time.
And you heard it.
Ew. Oh my gosh. I muted every single time they were kissing. I was like, oh, I can't take this. I'm so sorry. I can't.
It's so gross. So I think that's why she was so passionate about it, was because like, bro, you're trying to play me like on reality TV, and don't try.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I love when she said, he was like, I didn't bring anybody, like I was standing alone. And she was like, that's because nobody was interested in you.
Damn.
And there's been multiple interviews to confirm that. Like,
sheesh. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, yeah. Pour one out for Scott. Everybody loves Scott. Scott was just like a fan favorite for a long time after that. They were so rude to Catherine online.
Oh, so rude.
I don't think it was like him, Scott as a human. It wasn't. He wasn't fan favorite. I think it was more of a race thing. Like, look at this black woman
Mhm.
yelling at this white man. How dare she? We must
Mhm.
save the white man. I don't think anybody cared about who Scott was.
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's so no, because obviously, like after Catherine was gone, he genuinely had no story, nothing. I mean, did Scott like anybody? It just felt like he wasn't. I mean, Mitch said it best later. Like he just wasn't able to get or keep anyone. You know, I mean, he seemed like a nice enough guy, but I just don't know if he kind of like Catherine in a sense. It's like you get him and then didn't know what to do with them afterwards. You
That
know,
was weird. Even like
it's
Abby and him, like that was a really
Oh my
weird.
god.
oh Lord, yeah. Let's move into that part. That felt like that took up the last third. I mean, I kind of was getting bored of it after some point in
Yeah.
time, this whole triangle, because it really felt like it sucked up the last third of the season. Like, how'd y'all feel about this? Any hot takes about who was right, who was wrong, who all of them just were crazy.
Okay, I don't think Abby ever liked Scott.
No, not a little bit.
Yeah.
You just
Did
think
I
that she
agree?
liked that she was getting attention?
No, I don't even think she liked that. I think she was very uncomfortable.
In fact,
Like she just the way that she was just like just like, what are you doing? Like
She's
you're on
so
TV, we wouldn't
awkward.
see you. Like it was so awkward, and she wasn't that awkward with Mitch. So I think she was uncomfortable, but like because I guess she's on Love Island, and was she Bombshell? I can't even remember. Was she on
yeah,
it?
Casa.
Yeah,
she was
She's a
Casa.
casa.
she felt like she had to do it. I think she genuinely was hurt. And like I feel like once again, Mitch being a producer whore, like he purposely was twisting the story every other time. And I think they didn't show us a lot. Like I think a lot more was happening. That's why Abby was actually really butthurt. She
I
still
don't
was
know.
crazy.
I don't know if he was a people pleaser though. Like the thing of my thing with Mike Mitch is like I don't know if he was like twisting the story or if he oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. I don't know if he was twisting the story or if he's just naturally a people pleaser. Like you know them guys who like don't really get girls. So like when they finally do get at least two
Mhm.
girls who are interested in them, they don't know how to act. I
Yeah.
feel like that's just kind of who Mitch is. Like he's just like I don't want to break nobody's heart, so I'm gonna tell her this, but I'm gonna tell you this too. Like, you know, I feel like it was that kind of situation. In all actuality, he probably should have stayed with Abby. Let's keep it a buck. We all know
Yeah.
this, like, you know. But I feel
Yes.
like him not having any motion for 3 weeks and Ella B coming in like awesome, like I'm straight for you. I'm on you, and she had game. I give her that. She had some game. Like you know, she was like, I'm direct with it. What you want to do? Like, and I think that kind of threw him off because he's so used to laying it on thick. When somebody laid it on thick to him, it was just like, dang, I got to explore this. And yeah, she kind of bullied her way into it. But I feel like, yeah, he was, I don't know if he was like twisting the words or he was just trying to be a people pleaser. And it's just like, I don't want nobody to hate me now that I have motion. Like, no. Like, and then, yeah, everybody hated him.
I mean, I felt like though he kind of wrote it off for too long, but he did have a little bit of a point. Like he let Abby kind of get to know Scott, and it was kind of wild. Like as soon as he went
Yeah.
out on this date with Ella, she's over here buddied up with Scott. Like that's why I feel like she did kind of like the attention that she was getting. I don't think she was used to it from this like really cute guy, I guess. But like it just she played that card a little too hard, and then Mitch just panicked. Like it just oh my gosh. I was like, Mitch, do you know you're being televised to your point, April?
Yep.
I was like, what is going on? Like, somebody's gonna watch this back. And when the family came in, his mother was like, I'm so proud of you. You did everything the way I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You have nothing to say to your son right now? And
Yeah.
how he told one girl, oh yeah, it's a bit forced. He literally said on camera, to the boys, yeah, I want to have sex with Ella. Not sex, but I want to do sexual things to Ella, but I really want to, be with Abby. I'm like,
You can't say that.
You can't say that. You can't say things like that on camera. Like,
It's stressful.
he stressed me out, but obviously the producers were like, inject it. Like, keep going, keep going.
Like even what he said about Ella B at the end, towards the end.
Oh my gosh.
That was weird though. I didn't understand that.
It came out of nowhere. It
He
came out of nowhere.
panicked.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ty. Like, I think he just panics and like says stuff out of his mouth. Like, it's like, bitch, what is going on? But I think that if he were to look back at it, because he even said it on his final date with Abby before Ella came in, he was like, we're gonna be top four, top four, top four. It was like, yeah, if you stayed with Abby, you probably would have been
Would
top
have
four.
been, yeah.
You know, but Zoo Fords, let's fast forward away. Like, I mean, anything to say about that already hasn't been said about movie night? I feel like a lot of it we saw, you know.
I think this is gonna be a controversial topic. I told Amani this when we first watched it. Like, I think the girls weren't really being fair when they were
Oh.
viewing it. Like, in the standpoint of like every little thing that a guy would do, even if the girls already knew about it, they were just kind of gaslighting the girl that was at the table and that like in the relationship about it. And then each time the girl get upset, start crying, stuff like that, and the dude literally be like, "We already talked about this." Like, I know it's rough to see, but like we literally already talked about this. And then they
Yeah.
would just amplify each time. But when like a girl's like video would come up or something like that,
Yeah.
the guys, y'all obviously are like messy Mitch, like throwing a joke here or there, like you know what I'm saying. But they weren't like really like digging into it deeper, like
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where most of the arguments stem from. It's just like y'all are really adding salt to a wound right now, as far as like the girls, like you're adding salt to your own wounds. And that's why like y'all are getting upset, yelling at the guys, and the guys are coming back at you all crazy, how they were, because it's just like, dude, like, come on, how many times are we gonna do this? Actually, I know Tyreek was wrong for telling her to shut up, but like he was probably at the point where like, bro, how many times do I have to like go down my like bad choices? Like, please, like, and just leave it. Like, and so, but yeah, I think that was my controversial topic, was just the girls were just really gaslighting themselves. Like,
That's fair. I mean, like, I do think that the girls, they were playing, it was like not double-sided, but they were like playing fair in a sense. But past all of that, I was just mad at the producers for not showing more of Sammy's dirt. I was like, that's it? That's all y'all got? Like, Sammy literally told on camera, and I'm so glad. I'll pull this up during the feedback show. Shout out to the feedback show. Hopefully all y'all can come back. But literally, I want to play the tweet that I saw last night that Sammy was literally like, oh, I wish I would have played this clip. He was in confessional and he was basically like, Jess is out here moving as if she's my type. Like, she's not my type. I gave her a chance. So she's crazy to think that she's gonna do this to me. I'm like, where was that clip during movie night?
I forgot he said that. They're not gonna last.
Oh, definitely not. No.
If Jess is willing to put up with that, she's not the woman I know. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Jess doesn't have a little bit of pick me energy, but she has a backbone. Like, she does have something. Okay, tell me
I
why
think she's all right. Like, she'll say everything that like I want her to say, but then 2 seconds later, she ends up still with the same guy.
Because I think her and Ella fall into the same trap of like familiarity. You know, it's like, oh, I feel familiar with him and I like him a lot and la 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 la. I just want him to change his behavior. And it's like, actions, man. Actions speak so much louder than these stupid words coming out of this stupid man's face. Like, I just wish.
So telling though.
Yeah, what?
During the finale, when if you notice, they had like everybody's like family or something like that saying like, "Oh, we're cheering you on this and third." Remember, basically when her parents came in, her parents were like, "She's like, how do my friends feel about him?"
Yeah,
and they were like, like But during the finale, when everybody was like wishing her congratulations and stuff like that, everybody on Justice's team was like, "Oh, we can't wait to meet him." This and that, third, and then they showed her friends, like it was like a whole bunch of girls or whatever, and they're like, "Hey Jess, we can't wait to see you." And then they held up like the face of Jess. Like they literally mentioned nothing about Sammy.
Nothing.
They do not like that man at all. So like when they get out, I feel like that's literally going to be the dagger in the back. Like it's just like, yo, we don't like him, so you need to dead this. Like that's all cute and stuff like that for your contracts. Because I know you got to do your little press runs or whatever after this, but like we don't like this man. And if your girlfriends don't like the dude, like all of them, you better have some good riz or something, because you ain't gonna be beating them allegations, my boy. Like,
it's like recorded. It's like we could watch it back.
Recorded.
over and
Literally.
over again. Like, it's not like we're making stuff up or even projecting to you. Like, we can literally show you facts of why you should not be with this man. Like, he didn't play with her once. He played like that's why I was like, they only showed 2 clips during movie. Like, I'm like, this man gave you so much content. His should have been the longest clip, and they showed nothing. Like, yeah, that was my only take on movie night. But any other ones that really pop out to you other than Scott reading Leah's
That was
Leah's film?
hysterical.
Whew, I don't think there's much else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait,
yeah,
I want to talk about Scott and Mitch and how they got into it at the Crafties.
yeah. Let's talk about it. I mean, who you think really?
Hysterical.
I was texting Amani about this. I thought that Mitch was in the right. Like everybody was like, "Oh, Mitch did a little too much. Like he didn't have to come in." I'm like, "Yo, if I'm up there, obviously Mitch was like, excuse my language, showing his ass. You feel me? That's what he was doing.
Was
But if you come at me in front of everybody, it's all fair game. Like,
Fair.
and Mitch is. We all know Mitch is that person where like you can have like we go back, you say one, I say one, but Mitch is gonna take it there.
yes.
So you gotta know, like, your little sassy one-liner, Scott, that's cool. And it's just like, oh, we're in a challenge where people can't really respond. But like at that point, like you knew Mitch was gonna get into you.
Mm.
And that's what he did.
He did.
And I think Mitch was right for that. I'm not gonna lie, because he didn't have to say anything. Like not like first of all, we had to Google what knotbed was. Nobody knew what that meant. So if you thought she was gonna
No, I
get away with
knew.
I'm saying, sorry. I literally was like, N-O-B.
No, man. It hit my face. No, it was. I mean, it was literally one of the shout out Murad Morali because I would watch all of his stuff, but like he was literally calling it the Wimbledon because it was back and forth. Like they were just serving it to each other. But I do think Mitch won. I mean, Mitch was acting like annoying during that whole time period, but if you're nobody else was stepping to him, but Scott was through with it, said something, and yeah, Mitch kind of read him down. I think he was basically like this whole relationship is a sham. You don't even like her. Like everybody knows you don't like her. Like, oh, it just was like he's speaking facts.
And it ended up being true.
Yeah.
Pure facts. Like
facts. Like, oh my goodness, it was crazy that Scott even said, I think he slipped himself, but he said it like during the family visit, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna end things with Abby. It was like, oh, you waited a little too long, Scott. So no, that basically, I mean, it felt like between movie and the Grafties, it wasn't like much else happened other than the fact that I don't know if this happened before or after, but I do want to spend not a lot of time, but just spend a little bit of time talking about that tiff between Ella B and Whitney. Like,
oh my gosh!
But you know what? Before we even get to that, do y'all feel like they announced that Whitney and Locken were the fan favorite to try to mess up their chances of actually winning? Because that's what a lot of people think.
They've never done that. They've never done that before.
I don't think there was though, because I mean, I don't think. So my thing is that we all knew like Whitney was the fan favorite. It wasn't Whitney and Lockham. Let's just go ahead and erase it from my Like she was one of those characters who will literally win this show by herself as long as her guy isn't like a tool. Like, So
yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't like shocking news though. Like I feel like everybody kind of had to feel like to know that. But in general, even the people I feel like in the villa, because when you think about it, when there's always fights and stuff like that, like it's never them. So like if I'm sitting in the villa, I'm sitting there like, okay, like who does the public like, or who does the public think is the most compatible couple or whatever? It's the one that's not fighting.
But I don't think that they were like, especially with the pride that's on Ty and even Sammy, but put Sammy to the side. I think Ty genuinely was shocked that it wasn't him and Ella.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
I
and
agree.
like I think that was where he was the one who even in that shady challenge or whatever that it kind of started this all off. He was the one who even spoke for him and Ella to say, yeah, y'all won favorite couple, so I feel like y'all been acting a little smug. It's like, Ty, are you hurt? You seem a little hurt. Okay.
Like, he's probably naturally competitive too. Like,
yeah.
his heart, you know?
Oh no, we see when he's competitive at the very, very end there with Field Day. That was so
That was
funny.
hysterical.
But no, yeah, that thing kicked off. That sucked to see. I mean, it was like, but I mean, I think it's important to see. It just sucked that it happened now. I wish that fight happened like week 6, like something like that, not a week out from the finale when this is obviously gonna leave a mark on how people feel.
You talking about
Like
Ella and Whitney fighting?
Ella and Wit, yeah. Like, how'd y'all feel about them? I mean, I feel like there's like this stigma with Black people on reality TV, like, oh, we can't show contentiousness between us. But I do feel like that was real. It felt like two sisters just genuinely going back and forth at each other.
But to that point, I think that, like, especially the fact that the producers let them have their own date, I think
that was weird.
But I think it just shows that should have been a boost of confidence. Like, you guys are the main characters right now.
True.
Basically.
True.
You guys, like, clearly, like, we want to show you on, like, the TV show tonight. So
just you two.
Just you two. And right, that was during that time. It was pretty low.
Yeah,
but
it was
the drama. So it's like, I guess they're just reaching for something to show. But it was rough to see. I mean, yeah, like, and not for nothing. I don't think a lot of women can relate to that kind of relationship of like being sisterly with a friend. Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of people who took that as like, oh, these, like, what are these girls doing? It's like, no, like, if you are my sister, like, we're going at it. Like, I'm gonna make you cry. And then tomorrow we're gonna be kikiing like it's whatever. Of course, like, we'll talk about it. It was just I think for me it was very genuine and it was something okay to see, but knowing what like the majority of Love Island's audience, that what makes me uncomfortable about how they will perceive that argument.
What did you think, April? Like, with actually having sisters, like, what were your thoughts about that, like, whole dynamic?
I just felt like everything was blown out of proportion, which is what happens with sisters. So I was like, this is just getting out of hand for no, like, I felt like a simple conversation, just like Ella and Ty's fights. I'm like, a simple conversation could just fix this. That's what I felt like was happening. And so it was really frustrating to just watch them not come to a conclusion each time. It's like they would talk and then they'd be arguing. Even the dinner didn't help. So it was really sad to see that. And I could see both sides of why they're hurt. But yeah, it was kind of sad to see, but I am glad that they figured it out. But there was one thing I was like, that I wouldn't say bothered me, but I felt like I'm not taking sides at all. But Whitney just kept pushing that. She was like about her being selfish. Like, even when they hugged, she was like, I mean, I'm not taking it back, or like, I stand by my word. I'm like, girl, let it go.
Let it go.
What is wrong? Like, literally, she was just getting on my. I was just getting so frustrated watching her. I'm like, okay. Like, I think Ella was trying, you know, and she just kept going back to, I still stand by it. It's like, you're not going to lose any points if you say maybe you were wrong, or maybe you shouldn't have said that she's selfish, or I see why that word could hurt you, saying you're the most selfish person I've ever met. That's so dramatic. Like, but it's like, you say things like that, when you're fighting with it, but like, to admit later on, be like, okay, maybe that was a bit dramatic. You are a little selfish in these ways, but she just kept standing by it to the last minute. I was like, this is just not making me feel good about Whitney, but yeah,
it's just, I mean, for Whitney, it made me feel like this is the lack. She showed so much maturity, but and nobody's perfect, but this is where her flaws kind of show, where I felt like everybody was kind of right, where it was like, she can give it, but maybe it hurts to kind of take it. And then she's also very stubborn. So like, I felt like she thought like, oh, it's going to be inauthentic of me if I just sit up here and say, like, you're not selfish, even though I probably said that in the heat of the moment. But it's like, it's okay to take something like that back if you don't truly feel that way. Yes, somebody can have a selfish moment, but 100%. Like, do you think Ella is like this person selfish? the most selfish person in the world.
In the
Like,
world.
that didn't make any sense. So I was just like,
world.
come on, Wit. Come on, Wit. And they're both super stubborn people. That's why it felt so relatable because I mean, they just both were like not going to back down, but it's like that's not what's going to help heal this. I did though like that Ella B at Ella. Well, sorry, that's not Ella B. I'm so sorry, Ella, if you watch this, but like Ella, she literally was like, she was seeing past Whitney say that. She's like, I feel like she's just trying to say that because she's hurt about this comment, and she kept going back to it. She didn't let that cloud her vision. That was, I mean, it was interesting that she was and I was so glad that she was because I was gonna say, if you're able to forgive Ty, you should be able to forgive Whitney. But like I was so glad that she was able to use her vigilance to be like, this is not that this is not how Whitney feels, but this is not where it's coming from. Like the cause isn't me. The cause is Whitney being hurt by something else, you know? So I'm glad they were able to push through it. But Monty, you had a hot take when we were watching this in real time. I don't know if you want to share.
Yeah, I think somebody told Whitney to make it up because it's really weird how like they still were arguing after the date that they went on.
Yeah,
they were arguing when they were hanging out at the villa, and then all of a sudden they take their makeup off, and she's like, "Give me a hug," and now they're fine. It just like I don't know. It just like the timing seemed a little sus. And don't get me wrong, like yes, like with sisters, like you can forgive like that, but it was just like very awkward. Like I didn't enjoy it.
It was. I'm glad they made up afterwards and they were back to being cool. Then we get to everything else. It pretty much kind of flows. That kind of starts the last 2 weeks, which we've already talked about. So really, I mean, just to end this off, like who was your favorite couple? Like even past who was in the finale, like who were y'all's favorite couples to end with this? Penny, I don't know if you already have yours right here.
What is it?
So my favorite couple is going to be very controversial, I guess.
Oh, pause. Before you say your favorite couple, and do you think they're going to last post Villa? Please keep.
I already know they didn't. My favorite couple was Leah and Montel. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, because I felt like, as far as from what we saw, it just made sense. Like it wasn't like, I don't think it was as boring as it came across. And like I feel like their personalities, just like seeing like Leah kind of go through like multiple situationships or whatever you want to call those things in there. I can see her personality was like very like chilled. She's kind of wanted somebody that was kind of about her. She has like a fun personality to her, but like you kind of have to like peel back the layers. And I feel like that really meshed with like who Montel was. Because as we all know, he came in on some like chill vibes. Like he wasn't all up in everybody's face. Like, you know, some of the girls wanted to get to know him and stuff like that. But I feel like once he got with like Leah, like he was like, oh yeah, I'm locked in on this. So that's why that was my favorite couple. Like, you know, because and I feel like it just made the most sense. And they got did dirty. But yeah, it didn't last on the outside, obviously, because I think basically, I think I saw like an interview or something like that, and they were just saying how I guess Leah kind of couldn't get over the whole Casa Amoria shit, you know, and I feel like that's also because like somebody mentioned it on Twitter. It was just like, yo, it's different when you kind of get back out to the real world, and you got like thousands of people in your DM saying, hey, remember what he did in Casa Amoria? Like, you know what I'm saying? Compared to like when you're in the actual villa, and it's just like, yeah, like, you know, people who already kind of understand your situation, like they're also in the villa, so they understand Casa more, and it's kind of like, yo, girl, just get over it. Like, so I feel like that's what's kind of like hindering them. But I think they were hanging out at the finale or whatever still. So I mean, I got hope for them. But that was my favorite couple.
Oh, that's a hot take. I was not
expecting
to say that. Oh, Body, what about you?
Mine's definitely Ty and Ella.
Really?
Favorite.
Okay.
I was like, you were saying couple. I don't think Whitney and Locken, it's like Locken doesn't do it for me. But Ty and Ella, like I think they're so cute.
True. Okay. Do you think they're gonna make it?
Okay, this is what I think is gonna happen. They're going to try really hard. They're going to break up.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like 4 or 5 years, and they're going to try again. They'll probably break up again, but they're going to try
Tyler Perry
again.
movie you watching? You said 4 or 5 years. This is a Tyler Perry movie. Everybody coming back? No. That thing is toxic, bro. It's going to end in a child or divorce. Like, I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's just,
Damn.
bro, like, the two fiery personalities, bro. Like, that thing is so toxic.
Aren't they younger though? They're like 23, right?
They are very young.
They're so
like
young.
22, 23, 24.
I don't know any better.
What
gotta
that mean
look back.
nowadays? Think about that. What that really mean nowadays? Like, these 23, 24-year-olds think they 40. Like, oh,
Do
we
you
go
think
together.
so?
We married. Like, oh, this my man, my man, my man. Bro, you have no title. What's your title? Oh, we just talk. Like, no, like,
We
bro,
just-
like,
We go together.
yeah,
Oh,
we go
Lord.
together. What does that mean? Is that your girlfriend? No, we just go together. Like, bro, come on. Like,
It is odd. No, April. What about you? Who's your
I
couple?
same as Imani. I feel like Ty and Ella. No, because I feel like although it was so toxic, they kept me entertained. Like I kept coming back to the show because of them, and they really carried the season. I feel like they had everything. Like it was just like up and down, and so they were my favorite, and I really wanted them to win. Now,
Yeah.
do I think they're going to work? No, I think they may date for a bit. I give it like 1 month, and
1 month?
yeah,
Not even a year?
no, like a month. Yeah,
facts. Facts,
like a
though, I'm not
month. I think.
Maybe I just have too much
no.
optimism. I have too much optimism. I obviously ride for Whitney and Locken. Like I love them as a couple.
Yeah.
I 1000% like that's why I highlighted that line in the beginning, because I don't feel like you have to go through hardship to 100%. Prove that like you were in a great relationship. And even when it's not like they didn't go through stuff, it wasn't like they were perfect. They disagreed on certain things, but they knew how to healthily like agree to disagree. And even Locken, like he knew, it just felt like the only thing I worry about with them is I hope that through time Whitney shows him the emotional vulnerability that he's deserving of. Like Locken was so open, so real with her, and I know that she needs that to open up, and she obviously did to the point that she was able to. But like for them to really work on the outside, I do think that she's going to need to continue to be like emotionally vulnerable, and also know that he's not going to always coalesce to everything that she wants, you know, which I think that she even said it herself. It's not like she walks all over Locken, but or that he's even the type of guy to be walked over. But I do really love that you can genuinely tell that he's attracted to her strength and her fierceness, and they mellow each other out. Like, I don't know if either of y'all saw the new Pixar movie Elemental.
Absolutely.
I saw the trailer. Now I saw the trailer.
Thank you,
the
Penny,
fires,
for
the
seeing
water.
Yeah. Yes, they give that so much. And even in a little bit of a sense, I feel that with my own boyfriend. Just shout out to Del. But no, I like there's like they give that
Girl
an elemental. I just slip that in. But like he just lets her shine. He lets her shine. He's like literally that guy. Remember that meme? Like that's what he is. So I love them, and I do think they're gonna work. Maybe I'm so optimistic, but I do think that they're gonna work on the outside. If they all of these couples will work if they actually move near each other, because that's another thing. Like, do y'all even live near each other?
You heard that Zach can't drive?
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
He said that? How are y'all getting this information?
He can't drive, so Molly was gonna have to drive to him.
Mitch being best friends with Zach also, like, I'm just like side eyeing that, because I'm like, are you just trying to keep Molly in your life? Like, what's going on? Why are you best friends with him? You try to really, I would not be friends with him if I was Zach. That's a completely different topic. But after seeing that video of him trying to talk to Molly, be like, let's be low key. You don't tell anybody when we talk.
It's so weird.
He's weird. It's weird.
Penny,
Like,
I have to ask you, do you in your male world, do you
Yeah.
see people like Mitch pop up where it's like they'll tell a friend one thing but then try to move real shady on the other with their girl?
Yeah, that's like every guy knows a dude like that, man. Like it, but normally it's like if your guy's in like a good relationship or something like that, and like he's like doing something stupid or something like that. It's always that one friend that's just like, "Yo, you got a good, I know you a good woman to my man." It's like like so you just gotta like he's moving a little crazy, like this and the third. Like it's always gonna be some dirty macking. Like it's gonna be at least one friend that wants a dirty mac. But most of the time, you just won't find out about it unless like the girl tells you about it or it happens to come out that way. But there's always a lot of Mitches, which is why I feel like he hanged around for as long as he did because there was a lot of dudes who were actually like aligning with Mitch. Like, oh, I'm not by myself. I'm not the only one out here doing this. Like,
Oh no.
so that's why they voted in anonymously. Like, if their votes got released, we would have a different country. Like,
I need them to show a map like they did for Barbie and Oppenheimer. Like who voted for what couple, what states, what
Seriously.
countries. Jesus. But y'all, this has been quite a night, quite a review. Thank you all. Like if you have any last thoughts, speak now, forever hold your peace.
Boo.
Boo, Sammy and Jess.
Boo.
Come on now.
No.
Come on now, UK. I know we're Americans and we have really no leg to stand on, but why? Just why did you do that to us? Also, shout out Pack Dramas on Daily Motion. You help
Hey.
all of us. You're the true winner of Love Island.
You saved lives this
I hope
summer, okay?
I hope you collected all the ad coin from that. Okay, please.
I will rewatch an episode just so you get some compensation.
Please. But thank you all for joining us on this Love Island UK season 10 adventure. If you enjoyed this recap, hit the like button, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Hot Nerd Network for more exciting content. We'll be back for a feedback show for Love Island UK season 10, where we're going to dig through the tweets, dig through how everybody's digesting this. So all three of y'all, you're welcome back to talk with us then. Don't forget, though, for those listening, to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram to stay up to date with the nerdy goodness. And check out the other videos suggested at the end of this one for even more thrilling recaps and geeky adventures. Until next time, keep embracing your inner nerd. Bye.
Bye.
In audio.